analyzing the concept that death is the only truth that exists on earth through the philosophical lens of Immanuel Kant requires a shift from the depth of psychoanalysis to the realm of metaphysics and moral philosophy. Immanuel Kant, an influential figure in Enlightenment philosophy, is renowned for his categorical imperative and his exploration of metaphysical and ethical truths. Kant's approach to the concept of death as the ultimate truth is marked by an emphasis on reason, autonomy, and morality. The universalization of death. Kant's philosophy centers around the idea that rational beings possess inherent dignity and should be treated as ends in themselves, not merely as means to an end. When we consider the universality of death, it transcends individual experiences and becomes a shared human truth. In Kant's terms, death can be seen as a universal maxim that applies to all rational beings. This universality impels us to acknowledge the moral significance of death. Death is a truth that affects everyone, regardless of their individual desires or actions. Thus, Kant would argue that recognizing the universal nature of death can lead to a deeper appreciation of the moral imperative to treat others with respect and dignity. Autonomy and the reality of death. Kant places great importance on individual autonomy and rational self-determination. He argues that human beings possess the capacity for rationality, which sets them apart from other creatures. In the context of death, this rationality can be harnessed to confront and contemplate the truth of mortality. Kant would encourage individuals to exercise their autonomy in facing the reality of death. Rather than avoiding or denying death, he would suggest that we use our rational faculties to come to terms with it. In this sense, recognizing death as a fundamental truth becomes an act of moral autonomy and intellectual honesty. The moral imperative of death. Kant's moral philosophy emphasizes the importance of duty and universal maxims. In acknowledging death as a universal truth, we are reminded of our moral duties and the imperative to act in accordance with the moral law. Death's inevitability prompts us to reflect on our actions and the moral principles that guide them. Moreover, Kant's categorical imperative, which states that we should act only according to maxims that we can will as a universal law, highlights the moral significance of recognizing death as a universal truth. We must consider how our actions and attitudes towards death align with principles that could be universalized for all rational beings. Conclusion. Immanuel Kant's philosophical approach to the concept of death as the ultimate truth emphasizes the universality, autonomy, and moral imperative of this truth. By acknowledging death as a shared human experience, individuals are prompted to engage their rational faculties, confront the reality of mortality, and act in accordance with moral principles that respect the dignity and autonomy of all rational beings. In this way, Kantian philosophy underscores the ethical and moral dimensions of understanding death as an overarching truth in the human experience.